From the NewsTalkSTL studios in St. Louis, it's the Right Mind Show with Todd Schowalter. On tonight's episode, president of GreatPowers.org and radio host Daria Novak. And then St. Louis City's worst nightmare, Andy Polacek. And the Right Mind studio band, Mitch Murphy and the Murphy Tones. Now, putting the fun in your dysfunctional world, here's your host, Todd Schowalter.
Well, apparently I'm a racist
again.
Again.
It happens to the best of us.
I tell you, I mean, how many times? Now, here's the thing, okay? I do these cartoons. Now, of course, who is in the spotlight now? I mean,
Kamala is.
Kamala, whatever she is. And I don't know, but Joe's gone. I mean, I don't know what they did for him, put him in a box and shipped him somewhere. But now we got Kamala, whatever. And so I'm doing these cartoons on her, okay, which aren't very flattering, may I say.
Very lifelike, though.
Well, thank you.
It's on her part that it's not flattering.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, most of it is more, I think, of what I'm saying. I'm just basically trying to kind of, portray the fact that she's really not that bright. She's a rather stupid person. And the way that the crazy liberals come back at me is with the R word, because that's all they have. Well, you're a racist. You're a racist. And I said, I don't think stupidity is a race, is it? Is stupidity a race, Joey?
No, not at all.
I didn't think so either. I said, stupidity is not a race. And here's the thing. I'm not making this up. Because once again, I don't make anything up on this show. This is like 99.2% factual stuff. Okay. And every person or everything, whatever you want to call these people, that have called me a racist, you know what? First of all, I'll tell you what they are not. Not one black person has accused me of being a racist. It's all these nerdy little ugly white liberals is the word I'm going for. That are just, and they look like the losers that sat at the junior high school lunch table that nobody wanted to sit with, and they are the ones that are coming out of the woodwork. And apparently I'm a racist, and they just throw that word around like it's just. It's not even a big deal anymore. I think it's still a big deal, don't you? I mean, I wouldn't call anyone a racist.
And it's all satire. It's all for fun. So getting worked up over a cartoon makes them look even dumber.
Maybe they're the racist.
And a cartoonist exaggerates things like features and brain power and stuff. Your last cartoon, I loved it. It was pretending that Kamala didn't know there were 2 world wars already.
And I don't think she does. And I think that was factual. Well, apparently that was racist. Imagine this. I just want you to imagine this for a second, okay? I mean, because everybody just throws this racist word out now like it's weird or something. They are using weird now, too. Anyway, but pretend if I said, hey, Joey, guess what? And you say, hey, what, Todd?
Hey, what, Todd?
Hey, I think I'm going to comb my hair with a chainsaw. Okay, and you'd say, gee, Todd. Say, gee, Todd.
Gee, Todd.
Gee, Todd, that's kind of stupid.
That's kind of stupid.
Hey, what do you mean it's stupid, Joey? What? Are you a racist? I mean, that's what it is. No, and you would say, no, I'm not. But that's what it is. I mean, you point out that I'm doing something stupid, which is what Kamala always does, and I make fun of that. That doesn't make me a racist, just as much as if when I may actually comb my hair with a chainsaw. No, I call you a racist for making fun of me, and then you could then feel this confusion that I feel 24 hours a day.
I'm concerned about your marketing, though, where you keep creating these coffee mugs of people that we're supposed to not like as conservatives. So you put a beautiful, just crow's feet face of Kamala.
Yeah.
It looks so lifelike, and you put it on a coffee mug, and then you expect people to buy that and then put their lips all over it. I think you only sold one to Willie Brown, is it? But
Willie Brown, he bought a case, and he says, well, I think that's going to remind me of old times, and he bought a case of these things. Good old Willie, good old. Here's what I don't get. Now, and again, I want you, because you not only are you my friend, I mean, you're kind of like my consultant. You kind of like my therapist. You kind of like set me straight on things, don't you? And so why in the world, after these last 3.5 years of all these terrible things that we've gone through with inflation and people, like millions of people coming across the border and wars and overseas and all, you go to the grocery store and everything's tripled. I mean, why would anybody want this to continue?
I don't know. I don't think people have thought of stealing yet. I mean, really?
No, I have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I have done that. No,
I know on the coast they do that, but not here. I haven't seen it much in Missouri.
Well,
this one lady was crying over the price of a bell pepper. And I thought, lady, just take a bite out of it. They charge you by weight usually.
Oh,
If
exactly
you bite
right.
it before you get to the register, it's cheaper.
Well, not only that, what you do with your bell pepper that costs so much money, okay, you get like something like, cheap, like a stick of celery, all right, and you scan that instead, and you just throw the bell pepper like in your cart. And then the person at the Walmart checkout, because I think, they have higher aspirations than being the Walmart checkout person. They always stop you and they say, can I see your receipt? And I go, nope, you can't see it. You know why? Because I ate it. That's what I tell them.
I did have a digital gift card on my phone for the Walmart app. And
Did I give you that?
No. I earned it through taking surveys or something.
Oh.
And I had $60 worth of groceries, and the app just wasn't scanning. So I called the guy over like an honest person, and he looked at it. He tried it once himself, and he said, just get out of here.
They don't care.
I was like, whoa, $60 worth of free groceries. And the next time I went, it did work.
Well,
so.
if you do, I say you don't actually have it. Okay, I always say this too. If I don't want to say I ate it, I say, you got to catch me first. And I tell you what, not once. I mean, they're so confused when they ask to see your receipt or they ask you for something, and you tell them they've got to catch you first. It takes about 30 seconds for that comment to sink in, and by that time I'm home. Okay, so it's over. Yeah,
and it's printed on thermal paper usually, where instead of ink, it just uses heat to print.
Oh, yes.
So if you put that receipt in your sock, and by the time you pull it out at the door, it's completely black. Everything's rubbed off.
You can't say that. Now, see, you're going to get, for saying that, you're going to get some weaselly little ugly liberal that's going to say, I heard him say the receipt was black. Joey's a racist.
I meant to say the receipt was Indian.
Oh,
whatever
Indian.
the receipt wants to be.
Indian. That's right. Indian Jamaica man.
I heard Kamala was a flip-flopper.
Oh,
she was Jamaican one day and black the next. Wait, those are both black.
That's just, going back to this whole thing. I got another question for you as my therapist consultant, and I want you to be honest with me. Now, here's the only thing, because I keep going back, okay? It's been such a horrible 3.5 years, and Kamala, and the Invisible Joe now, I mean, they caused it all. Why? And the only reason I could see nutty people not wanting are actually wanting to vote for them is because they don't like Trump, okay, which is kind of stupid. Now, I want to ask you this. I'm going to give you an example, okay? I don't like Tom Brady. I don't like Tom Brady, the football player, okay? I just don't like him. I don't like him, okay? But I got to tell you, if I were going to have a football team like Coach Tom, and I needed a quarterback, I would definitely have Tom Brady. I'd want Tom Brady to be my quarterback, even if I don't like him. Does that analogy just even make a hint of sense?
I want to try my own analogy. Yours was so great. I want to get in on this. If you are a betting man, you're going to bet on America. You want America to win so that you can win.
Right.
If you are betting on football, you may not like Tom Brady, but if they're playing a scrub team like the Detroit Lions, you're going to bet on Tom Brady to win, and then you're going to win also.
Right.
So you may not like Trump, but it may help your pocketbook is what some people are arguing.
Oh, and but some people just don't get it. I still have people, no, I'm with her. And I think that whole I'm with her thing really, I thought the people wearing a mask, people that still do wear a mask, I still think are stupid. But I think if they're wearing that I'm with her shirt, or he's wearing that I'm with her shirt, I think that's equivalent to a mask. I think it's just a red flag, although it's a T-shirt that says I'm really not that bright. And you know what? Then I could do a cartoon about him, and they could call me a racist also.
Oh, man, I love your racist cartoons. Wow. They're the best ones.
Yeah, and I don't even mean for them to be. They're just naturally anything. Joey, I am telling you anything. Wow, look, the sky's blue in this. Wow, that's racist. Okay, everything's racist. I mean, it's unbelievable. Or a fascist. That's the other one. I think there's like a liberal like grammar school, and they teach them a select amount of words, and they kind of ran out. That's why they have this weird name now. Oh, you're weird. Oh, come on. You've had like what, racist, fascist, all these other, and now you've got weird? I mean, are they running out of words?
I heard Tim Walz, that's Kamala's VP pick, he was saying that Kamala worked at McDonald's when she was a kid, and now he wants
They don't sell hot dogs at McDonald's.
Some, I bet you they do in Italy. That's where they have the best food is over in Italy.
Oh.
I bet they have the hot dogs and the spaghetti or whatever they make over in Spaghetti-O Land.
Oh,
but
okay.
Tim Walz was saying that Kamala worked at McDonald's, and he can't even imagine Donald Trump working at a McDonald's or fixing the McFlurry machine, which admittedly is always broke.
It's always
broke. I don't think Kamala could fix the McFlurry machine.
Well, I wanted. Oh, okay, so he says that, but let me tell you what. He was probably paying Kamala's salary because Donald Trump always eats at McDonald's. I mean, that's his favorite place.
And the Boy Scouts come after winning the Super Bowl, and he buys them double cheeseburgers. I've seen it.
All the tables of McDonald's food. I mean, quarter pounders as far as the Lincoln Room can see.
The same reason they don't let you back at McDonald's over the fryer.
No,
we don't want you getting too overheated and bronzer dripping into the fryer oil.
I've already
Trump's
got
back
that.
there, same bronzer situation.
I don't know. We're in these crime shows now. That's the thing, because we're right on that break. We'll finish a really good series, and then there's always that exploratory time where we're trying to find a new one. But we're doing these crime things now, these real crime, like these documentaries. And here's the thing. Like before, 10 years ago, 20 years, back in the 70s, 80s, even 90s, those were the real years to be a criminal, okay? Because they didn't have all this DNA and rings and all this stuff. You can get away with anything now. But I mean, now they're going back. Get this. They're going back like 30 years because they have all the DNA. Can you imagine? Oh, wow, I accidentally cut off my girlfriend's arm, but they'll never catch me because they never had the DNA. And then they come back 30 years later. You're probably in a nursing home, and they say, hey, by the way, we got your DNA. You're the one that cut off your girlfriend's arm.
You haktoa in a cup, and one day you're getting your ass arrested because you did a 32andMe or whatever chromosomes are in those little DNA tests.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's how they catch you. The government keeps track of all the DNA tests, and then they go and get you later on 30 years later.
Not only that, because I'm always afraid to upset my person, the keeper of the mullet, because I could just see her getting mad at me when I'm going in to get my mullet trimmed. And she takes the clippings of my hair and throws them at a crime scene. Oh, you didn't tip me enough. You know what I did? I threw your hair clippings at a crime scene. They're going to be taking you away forever. Yeah, I think about stuff like that. So I always say, hey, put all my clippings in a little plastic bag. Why? I don't know. I like my little ferret to play with them. Well, hey, we got a big show coming up. We've got Daria Novak coming on. She's got a lot of stuff. She ran for Congress. She's got her own radio show. She's a conservative, like a think tank type person, I believe. And guess who else we have coming on? We got our buddy Andy Polacek, who's always about to bring down the city of St. Louis with one of his big, projects and things like that. We're going to find out if he's finally brought somebody down after months and months of promising. We're going to find out if he's finally gotten anything done.
It sounded like he was hiring someone to do inventory. Like when you worked at a retail store, they'd close it down, and then from midnight to 5 a.m., they have little kids run around with little scanner guns scanning every item on the shelf to make sure there wasn't too much stealing. I think they just got someone with these little scanner guns scanning everything in St. Louis to find out if it was stolen. And then about 3 to 5 to 10 years, we'll find out, oh, yeah, they stole a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't work retail and know about this inventory thing.
I did. Every retail job I worked was about for 30 seconds because I told you what I would do. I'd show up. I'd realize right away I'm not going to like this job. And I go, hey, I'll start in just a second. Where's the bathroom? I gotta use the restroom. And they, it's right down the hall there. And then I'd go and I never come back.
You'd Super Mario it. Jump in the toilet.
Goodbye. No, I just walk down that hallway and I just never come back. I'd usually get an Orange Julius on the way out, but then I'd get in my beat up little car and go home.
And go to OJ and get in your car. I know what you mean.
Yeah, that's going to be a great show.
We're
going to find out, and we're going to hear more about it. We're going to talk to these people when we come back. In the meantime, I'm Todd Schowalter, along with my good buddy Joey B. Mitch in the background. This is The Right Mind Show. We'll be right back.
Coming up next on The Right Mind Show with Todd Schowalter, president of GreatPowers.org, Daria Novak. Welcome back to The Right Mind Show with Todd Schowalter on NewsTalkSTL. And now a man who never worries about getting revenge because he is too odd to get even, Todd Schowalter.
And we're back. I'm Todd Schowalter, along with my buddy Joey V in the background. And on the line now is Daria Novak. She's president of the International Center for Great Power Studies and Diplomacy. She is a talk radio host that's also syndicated. I mean, she's got a whole list here, Joey, of her bio. If I read the whole entire thing, we're not going to be able to talk to her. So, Daria, how are you doing? And thanks for joining us.
I'm doing great. I'm very happy to be speaking to you today.
Well, thank you. That's all we needed, and we'll talk to you soon, okay? I'm kidding. Now, you're involved with a lot of different stuff, and on top of the stuff that you're involved with, now you're in Connecticut, correct?
Actually, I'm in Northern Virginia. I used to live in Connecticut. I ran for Congress in Connecticut in 2016
Okay, that's what
under
I thought.
a Trump banner, and then moved down back to Virginia.
Okay, and you've been in this game for quite some time because you go back to like the Reagan administration, Reagan, and who, by the way, was my favorite president of all time. But you were part of his State Department.
Yes, I worked in the Reagan State Department. I was actually there for about 10 and a half years, and he was a fantastic boss. I really, really miss the guy.
Yeah, no, I got to meet him by distance. I was a editorial cartoonist in a southern Missouri paper, and he came to town towards the end of his presidency, and I didn't get to meet him personally, but I got to meet him somewhat, and he electrified the audience, and you could really tell that he was one of the great ones. And I said, going back to his whole presidency to this day, he's still one of my favorites, unless Donald Trump can trump him, so to speak. But we'll have to wait and see if that happens. So now, tell me, what is it about the group that you're involved with? I mean, it's got a very long name, but what exactly do you do?
Well, one of the things I did at the State Department was to notice that Americans often fail to stand up for our country, knowing our history, our Constitution, and really understanding how to communicate with other people. Toward the end of the time I was at State, we started to see all of this equality come in the sense of we have to choose a quota of X number of people from a particular state. So it became a quota system for foreign service almost, rather than the top quality people go into the foreign service. So I made up my mind that I would start an institute that would be geared toward training younger Americans to prepare for service in the fields of diplomacy, intelligence, military careers, but mostly diplomacy. So what the center has done is draw together people from all walks of life, and we're trying to basically revamp the foreign service so that we get the best and the brightest going to represent our country overseas as Americans, not as globalists.
Yeah, and it seems so logical. Again, we talk about common sense and things like that on my show a lot. And there's no problem with diversity, but as long as you're the best at what you do, that's what counts. It seems like with this whole DEI and all this other stuff or junk, I have other words for it, it's kind of like you're watering down the mix. I mean, why not try to raise the bar and bring up the best, regardless of what their backgrounds, racially, gender, whatever, and get the best. And if they happen to be, you know what I'm saying? Rather than try to bring everything down and say, okay, we're going to bring everybody down to one even, vanilla sea level playing field. Why not try to raise everybody up regardless of their background?
Exactly. And we need to understand what the world is like. We may have to deal with individuals from foreign countries, the leadership of foreign countries that really don't agree with a lot of our policies, or they're more brutal than Americans are. Mm-hmm. But we need to be dealing with them in order to improve things in the world. So shutting down and becoming totally isolationist is not an answer either. So we need to have a balance in there. And that's what we're trying to strive for by getting the message out, by talking to people around the country about the history of this country and other countries too. You talk to young people today, and I've been a professor in political science at a university, and I often find that they don't know about the Constitution, about the amendments. And the first thought that comes to mind is progressive education. what happened to a really solid education in American values in our history.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it's lacking today.
Yeah, and not only that, you mentioned, I mean, what happened to civics? I mean, they don't even teach civics. I don't think they teach that in schools anymore. I mean, you have more, we were talking on other shows about all these illegals coming in. I know a lot of, well, not a lot, but several friends that are their spouses or even some themselves that have gone through the whole process of becoming legal citizens, that have had to study the Constitution, that have had to learn what it is to be an American. And I think these people know more than 90% of the high schoolers that are actually, born American citizens. What happened to our schools where we're not teaching that anymore?
Well, you know what? This is what we have to do. It's real simple. We have to teach our young people to think critically, not tell them what to think.
I agree.
Every semester, I start out the first day of class telling my students that. Challenge me. Ask me the questions. Don't just believe what I say. Think critically for yourselves. There's so much out there on social media and false stories left and right all over the place. We've got to be able to think. And unfortunately, I see a lot of young people that would rather Google information on their cell phone than to actually have to think through a situation logically. We've got to get away from that.
Well, and I think you saw a lot of that with the whole COVID scam that was going on when you had all the kids that were staying home and being homeschooled, whatever you want to call that. I mean, I remember I had a son that was he was a junior and senior in high school, and he just openly, what do you got? Oh, I got a chemistry test today. Well, what's that? Well, I'm just looking on Google for the answers and stuff. And that was just totally, well, you can't do that. But you've got that now, and a lot of you even talk about Google, even on some of the stuff that they're, whether it's history or other things related to that. Google's subjective. I mean, you can't go on Google and get anything really objective. I mean, so even the stuff that they are doing that with, they're not all the time, they're not always getting the truth.
They're not. And from what I understand, many of the AI programs have now emerged into a stage where they provide the information that they think the user wants to hear, including picking up academic references.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when that goes into the medical community? I would not want to operate with a surgeon who's cheated by looking at AI documents.
Mm-hmm. No, and I totally agree. I totally agree. And that goes back to going to retract to some of the DEI stuff that you were talking about. We have a guest on our show quite often who spent 30 years in the military. And he, the things that have happened in the span of 30 years between now, you've got people that we have nations around the world that are preparing and training to kill us. And we're training, and we've got our soldiers. We're worried about, what pronoun they want to go by on their name badge. I mean, what type of idiots ever think this is even valid? I mean, do you really think that the majority of people go along with this, or do you just think we hear about the minority?
I think what happens is the average everyday American is concerned about work, taking care of their family, going to baseball games, and they're not necessarily that vocal. I think we get a few extremists on the left, the progressive extremists, that want to basically create, to me, what is a socialist communist society in our country, destroy the family, destroy religion, and create a new religion, which is the state. Well, I'm a citizen of the country, not a servant of the state. And I think that we need more Americans who believe that to actually stand up. The issue, I think, is that we're not out there being activists. We're out there living our lives and just saying, government, stay out of my home. Yeah. And I think that we're going to need to get people out this November to vote so that we can continue to say that.
Well, and
they have our laws.
I've said it many times before. This sounds, you're being overly dramatic. I really don't know what's going to happen to our country if, we don't turn this around in November. I don't think we can. Will we still be standing 4 years from now? Well, hopefully. But I think that the country is in such a decline over these past 3.5 years, and now you have people that saying, "Oh yeah, well, I'm with her. I'm with her." You're with 3.5 years, 4 more years of this whole just travesty that's happened to our country. I mean, do you think we can survive another 4 years of this?
I really do. And the reason I say that is I don't want to see it happen, but I believe in the American people. We're a strong people. We've got a lot of ingenuity. We are creative people. It would be very hard, but it won't destroy us. I'm not a doomsday person that way, but I really, really think that it will take a long time to recover if we have 4 more years. What we've seen that probably the average person doesn't recognize is that the tentacles of the Obama administration and the Biden, I'm going to call it the Biden crime family, have gone in and literally gone into the middle level of government. This is not just political appointees that are pushing this extreme agenda. This gets down into the career officials. And what both the Obama administration and the Biden administration, which really is Obama 3, what happened is they've turned a lot of their political appointees into career individuals within the government. That means they can't get fired unless they murder somebody. We have got a huge job ahead of us in turning this country around. But I think what we need to remember as citizens is that whether it's a Donald Trump or somebody that's a leader overseas, nobody is perfect. So I think what we need to remember when we go to the polls this fall is look at the track records of the individuals. Look what they accomplished in their leadership positions. I don't know what Kamala Harris has accomplished. I certainly know some of the negative sides of things, but what has she done, for instance, on the border? I can certainly go and look at Donald Trump and the people that he put in office as political appointees and show the progress we made toward fixing this nation. We need to get back on that type of a track to fix things.
Well, I couldn't agree more. I just think you have these brainwashed people that follow. And again, I think a lot of it goes back to maybe the whole COVID thing. And I'm not a conspiracy guy, but there were a lot of questions there that I have still to this day. Things just didn't add up. But I think you get these, going back to Kamala, I mean, apparently you're not allowed to say she was a DEI hire. Well, she was definitely a DEI hire. You look back in 2020 where she was the first one that got the boot when all the candidates were running. I mean, she couldn't get any support. She falls out. Why? She was openly trashing Biden, calling him a racist and things, a rapist, I should say. And then what? She's brought in. Why? Because I'm sorry. I mean, she appears to be African American, even though she's Indian Jamaican, and she's a woman, and that's why I believe she was brought in to get the job done. Now, what did she do? Well, she and Biden, and as you meant, I agree with you on this whole, Obama, third term situation. I believe that wholeheartedly. But those two didn't know what they were doing. And right now, she still doesn't know what she's doing. And they've totally destroyed everything they touched over the last 3.5 years. But this whole mind game that the media just helps, get out there and project and brainwashes these people just temporarily with like, oh, I'm with her. I mean, seriously, Daria, do you remember 4 weeks ago? 4 weeks ago, we all thought we thought she was a moron. And now she's the second coming of Obama. I mean, how are people not seeing that this is all a big smoke and mirrors, shell game?
I think what we're going to see is after the Democratic National Convention, a little bit of time will go by and more evidence will come out. With social media, we have Harris with quotes where we can see her talking and what she actually said and where she's flipped positions and her incoherent statements. It will come out. Now, I want to go back, if we could, for 1 second to COVID.
Sure.
If you look at the Americans in this country who had children that were on computers at home learning during COVID, parents were told, in many cases, stay out of the room where your children are learning. Well, parents didn't. Parents went in and really had an opportunity, I think, basically for the first time, probably in their child's education, to get a firsthand look at what was being pushed down these children's throats. and parents don't like it. I live in Loudoun County in Northern Virginia, and we're sort of ground zero for the educational problems in this country. We've gotten rid of school board members. We've fought against these extreme books that are in the school system showing physical pictures to elementary school children of gay sex, unclothed individuals. I mean, it has gone to such an extreme that parents are now starting to organize and fight back. And I'm not talking about isolated cases. We're talking about an entire nation that saw what was happening to their children, and they've seen the test scores go down and the problems go up. I think that those parents are going to come out and they're going to vote for their children's future this fall.
Well, you've been a pleasure to have on. I tell you, I would love to have you back because I got about 20 other questions and topics I'd like to talk with you about. But unfortunately, we're out of time. How can people listen? Because I know you have your own program, your own show. And how can people reach out and learn more about you and listen to your show?
Probably the easiest way to listen to the show, we're on in many major markets in this country, but if you're not in one of our media markets, is to go to amfm247.com, and it's the Vernuccio-Novak Report. And we have a new show on every week.
Fantastic. Well, I'm going to check it out. I mean, I scanned a few of them last night, but I'm going to go and listen to them more in depth because I really, you and I couldn't agree more on all these topics, and I'm glad that you're out there, as I always say to, the people that matter, fighting the good fight. So I want to thank you again for coming on, and I hope you'll join me again.
I would love to come back. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Daria. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Well, Daria Novak, I tell you what, I mean, I didn't, I read a lot about her. She's got an extensive biography. I mean, much more is longer than mine. Of course, mine's a lot, kind of made up. But but she's got a lot of credits, and going all the way back to like the Reagan administration, and she ran for Congress. Wow, Joey. I mean, seems like, I was impressed. Could you tell?
Yeah, she's a real-life radio professional. They don't let us talk to the professionals in this building. We kind of have a little corner that they stick us in, so it's cool. You were telling me that the big boss, Jeff, he doesn't even let you do a live show. We could do it live.
Nope.
But he says, no, we're not allowed ever since Katie had to hit the dump button on you the one time you were co-hosting.
The dump button, I know. That's right. Hitting the dump button on Todd. Hitting the dump button. No, he told me, I don't know, I'll never forget it. I mean, because it struck me. I mean, and typically, I get hurt, but then sometimes I get hurt not just in the head, but in the heart. That pain you feel in your heart sometimes. It was the station's second birthday party, okay? And my lovely wife joined me for that, by the way, too, because I was all excited and giddy, to bring and have her meet everyone. And it was at Johnny's Hideout, and it was a fun time. The whole gang was there and everything. And I went up to Jeff and with my wife to introduce her. So my wife said, "Is the show going to be live?" And you know what Jeff says? No, we're not letting him do a live show.
I don't know why. I mean, it would be great, but the thing that we found out here, we were thinking this out long term, there's a perk to being able to just go up to people's when they're sitting in their car at red lights at 5 o'clock and just crank up the radio on 101.9 and then run away. You were at a wedding in Chicago and the DJ walked away and you hooked your phone up to the Bluetooth and you started cranking out the show at 5:03.
Well, it wasn't even a wedding that I was invited to.
Oh, even better.
I sometimes just show up at random, reception halls and stuff, and I ask I tell the DJ that's there at the time, I say, "Hey, I think your car is on fire," and they'll say, "Well, which car is it? It doesn't matter, but it's your car. I know it." And so he'll run out, and that's when I immediately turn on the stream. The stream to if the show's already over, I put on the replay, and everybody they go from dancing the Macarena to listening to you and I talk about our great stuff.
We should start riding the bus, and at 5:05 just yell like, "Okay, Google, play 101.9 St. Louis," and just watch all them Android phones light up.
Oh, it could be a
jump off the bus
thing.
while it's still moving, Keanu Reeves style.
In the meantime, I'm Todd Schowalter, along with my good buddy Joey.
Let's do it live next time.
Let's do it live. In the meantime, I'm Todd Schowalter, along with my good buddy Joey V and Mitch in the background. You're listening to The Right Mind Show, or it could be The Right Mind Show. I don't know. We'll be right back.
Coming up next on The Right Mind Show with Todd Schowalter, St. Louis City's worst nightmare, Andy Polacek. Welcome back to the Right Mind Show with Todd Schowalter on NewsTalkSTL. And now a man who loves driving his Saab sedan so much, he calls her his Swiss Miss. Todd Schowalter.
Hey, we're back. I'm Todd Schowalter, along with my buddy Joey V. Mitch in the background, doing absolutely nothing today, but somebody who is always doing something. On the line with me now, Andy Polacek, getting ready to bring down this city of St. Louis and their corruption. How's it going, my friend?
Going all right. A little, excited about some of the election results in Missouri and a little disappointed and worried about others. But, it'll be interesting to see what happens. So I guess I opened up about what I want to talk about.
Yeah, well, tell me, okay, well, what excites you and what doesn't?
I was excited about Denny Hoskins winning the Secretary of State because Denny is very anti-machine, very pro-paper ballot hand counting. The fear you have with that is because a lot of us who are election integrity folks here in Missouri believe that primaries are what are the most commonly rigged in Missouri, when they are rigged. And I don't know that, we're a heavily rigged state as Arizona is per se. But, the issue with these machines, as long as they're around, no one knows anything. You can't, you really have no way to even verify, and I can tell you more stories about what's going on in Vernon County and St. Charles County and some of the other counties right now with the verification because the big secret is nobody in these election offices knows what they're doing. They don't know their job. And when somebody shows up that actually does, it turns into a little bit of a localized fight. And, of course, everyone in government is always right. Everyone that isn't is always wrong.
Yeah, sure.
So, but Denny, I'm excited about. The fear is, would you be surprised if a Democrat ended up winning Secretary of State? Would that make you scratch your head and you'd wonder what's going on?
Yeah, well, yes and no.
and see, that's the interesting point is you wouldn't be because you'd probably assume the machines did that.
Right.
There's a fear from us, even when we win, in the kind of MAGA fix the world side, that even when we win, that they're just setting us up to knock us down. Because as long as they control the mechanisms, which is the money, the election machines, I can go on and on, corrupt associations, so on and so forth. It just gets harder and harder. I'm not happy about Kehoe at all. I think he's a Democrat.
Yeah,
with you.
Right. I'm surprised he won. I'm surprised he won.
I am too, and that's of course gets back to the question of how do we know he won with the machine issues, right? When you look at St. Charles County, if you heard about what happened in St. Charles, but
total mess.
And they shut down, and then Kurt Barr's wife won by one vote, and he refused to do a recount on that. She also, by the way, called everyone that's concerned about elections in Missouri a white supremacist, which that means I'm a white supremacist,
right.
Which is crazy, and that's also what a Democrat says, by the
way.
way.
We've been talking about name calling this whole show. I've been called names. Everybody's called me. I'm so tired of all. If that's all you've got, and you're so weak, and you're such a loser that all you can do is throw names at somebody when you're losing an argument, you've lost already, in my opinion.
I agree with you completely. And it's funny because every time these issues happen, I think it scares a lot of us that are trying to, fix things and make it right. But I actually started viewing it in a different way. I started viewing it in a way of, when things go bad, people's eyes start to open and they start to question things.
Sure.
For example, now in St. Charles County, Bob Eno, who's the chairman of the GOP there for St. Charles County, he actually came to one of our paper ballot classes. And, you used to have a situation where a lot of the Republican committee there was very pro Kurt Barr, but they've seen so many incidents that now they're like, what the heck is going on? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
So,
and the thing is, they keep throwing out these things. It doesn't make. Why in the world would you not have paper ballots, hand counting when that's, say for example, Andy, say I owed you $100, okay, and I'd say I owed you $100 and I had a handful of cash and I said, I'm just going to throw it in a box here. Trust me, it's all there. Would you want to hand count that $100, or would you just trust it if I threw it in a box and said, here, it's all in the box, Andy, just trust me? No,
I trust you. I trust you.
Right, yeah. Well, you trust me because of course.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yes. No, I know. I agree with you on this. Yes, you should always want to count. Trust and verify. That's the whole concept, and that's the way it should always be.
Well, we don't have the manpower. We don't have this. Oh, come on, bunk. We
used to, and that doesn't mean we can't again if we don't just get innovative and creative about things. And
right.
And also, honestly, we need to get people in society to toughen up and do their part more. Look, I didn't used to. I do now. I'm making up for what I didn't do. So, but no, the Kehoe thing is scary to me because he is a globalist. They found out, I think, a month before the primary that or maybe a few weeks before, that he was taking money from, you probably heard about the $75,000 from Bill Gates' son, and that guy was trained by Alex Soros, and there's some fake meat thing going on, and there's all these associations that they look like they're for the farmers and so on and so forth, but they're actually big corporate agribusiness, which is tied to China. And the other one that scares me is, and this is a controversial one within conservatives, is, I appreciate what Bailey is doing for Trump from a national level. There's a lot of criminality in Missouri that gets ignored, and some of the people Bailey is tied to to me, really scares me. Stephen Tilley, the Blunts, these are globalists, and they care about themselves, not Missouri. So that scares me. I know that was a controversial one. Some folks probably were Bailey fans. I understand that. It's just who he's tied to scares me.
Well, it surprised me going back to Kehoe, though. I mean, he didn't even show up for some of the debates. I mean, it's almost like,
he didn't do anything.
Like I don't have to.
It's like he knew he was going to win.
That is what I was going to say. I was just going to say that. It's like, why would you not show up for a debate or do certain things unless you, and again, I'm not going to, whatever happened, but I mean, I'm not saying, I don't know. But the thing is, I would certainly, if it was a hotly, if you have that kind of competition in there with Eigel and Ashcroft, I mean, I would certainly want to show up and get my word in, but no.
Agreed.
I'm not even going to.
Especially since he did not get even, and then you can argue the primaries are always like this. Is the same with Danny Hoskins. I think he got 23% of the vote or whatever. But, you got a guy who is already questioned by a lot of the grassroots conservatives and a lot of conservatives in general in Missouri who didn't show up for the debates. And then, quite frankly, he doesn't even have 40% of support by Republicans in the state. He doesn't have a mandate to do anything,
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or a lot of support. And had he gone through the motions to even just, appease us, it seems like that would have been just a wise move. When they don't show up for things, you start, it's kind of like Kamala right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't show up for things, it starts to make people scratch their head. Or if you don't talk to the press and be like, why do you think you don't need to compete? What advantage do you have? And then, of course, you have to look at the voting machines.
Well, but you look at Kamala. I mean, she's just not bright. And I mean, every time she talks, I mean, it's like some word salad and it doesn't make any sense. So I think they're basically hiding her just for the fact that they want people know that she's an idiot. They just don't want it to be, a bigger idiot than they thought.
It's widely known. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so, I mean, so when you look at stuff like Kehoe and some of these other things, it just basically, I don't know anything about him. Andy, I don't know anything about the guy. The guy was, he won. But yes. I know nothing about it. Nothing about him.
I can tell you he was the car salesman at Sinclair. And unfortunately, and I know everybody in St. Louis knows everybody, but Sinclair has somewhat of a questionable background as well. And then, he lived in Lynn, Missouri for a while and helped repair something. He's very tied to corporate Missouri, was probably the best way to put this. Mm-hmm. And then apparently the last 4 years, he got all the associations that are not typically supported by either members or people in the actual industries because they're actually representing big business to back him. And what's funny about that is you see, Ashcroft was not my favorite candidate. Eigel was my favorite candidate. But the credit I'll give Ashcroft is he actually, went around and talked to people. He actually talked to regular people, as we all know Eigel did, right? And I was happy that I believe Eigel beat Ashcroft by not that huge of a margin, but I think he did beat him. And of course they said that wasn't possible too. But the whole thing about it is also, when they have all these people in these crowded races, that's another way to, make sure they get who they want in. Mm-hmm. Because if you would have added up Eigel and Ashcroft's numbers together, Kehoe wouldn't have won.
Yeah.
Now, did you know it would have went that way? No. But, look, I do know people that support Kehoe. He tried to mark himself as a farmer. He doesn't really farm. It's kind of like the extent of the guy that, I don't know, lives in Franklin County and has got 20 acres and, has got a nice corporate job in the city and he's got one cow. I guess he farms. Not to bash anybody, but it's like, it's kind of like luxury farming.
Yeah, right. Hobbyist.
So,
right.
Hobby farming. Yeah, and that's fine, but I don't know if you can claim you're a farmer in the mud and the dirt every day.
Andy, I'm a professional baseball player. I don't know. I guess.
Are you?
Well, I played in fourth grade. But I mean, that just.
God.
Okay. Yeah. Before we run out of time, I know you were busy with the Cherokee Street, the new statue, I know that they dedicated. I was talking via Messenger with Sherry Elder, and she said that it had all been dedicated. So the official Indian is finally back up on Cherokee Street, correct?
That's correct. We would have loved to have it on Jefferson, but we knew given the political situation in the city would have been jerks about it. Mm-hmm. So we put it on private property. A woman named Jody Pate actually is right about diagonal across from my own house. And it's, there's 3 statues. It was done by a Native American Cherokee artist who came in town, real nice guy named Eddie Morrison. We got Paul Pointer, the Lemp Mansion, helped along with Sherry Elder as well. The Pointers were really helpful over there at Lemp Mansion, and they also own that loft that, they have weddings in and stuff like that. And, I got to tell you that the guy, Eddie Morrison, the artist, is a great guy. We got him convinced to come back for the Bourbon Fest over at the corner of Lemp in Cherokee, because it's going to be Lemp and Cherokee up to Seminole actually, and it was really great. It was the community came together for it, and we're still working on a plaque and on a few other things, but it's good. It's a happy thing, and what's so amazing is so many of the progressives who are supposed to care about all these things, very few of them even came out.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So, what's funny is when you actually take the reins of things they're supposed to care about away from them, they just fold and they show their true hands.
No, they're seriously. I've said they're basically like children. I mean, they like having their tantrums and they like getting attention and look at me and all this stuff. But then they're like, anyway, it's nap time. Okay, what's up? I mean, that's what it's all about. Yeah.
Concern just to try to get power, basically, and attention and money and things like that.
Yeah, well, Weasley, a little sniffle. Oh, well, you know where I'm going to go with that. Anyway, well, Andy, it's always great to have you on. I mean, seriously, you're our insight source with the city of St. Louis and, elections in general. So I'm looking forward as we get closer to the elections to having you back on for more of your insight. In the meantime, thanks for joining us, okay?
I appreciate it, Todd. You have a great day, and everybody else have a great day, too. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thanks.
Well, Andy Polacek, I tell you what, he's always got that inside stuff. He still has the audit going on where they're trying to, figure out where all this money's going. Now, he's been talking about this for a while. I mean, I'll be interested to see what the results actually are.
I just had my family who are Milwaukeeans, Milwaukeeans. I don't know. They're from Wisconsin.
Right.
I convinced them to move down here to St. Louis because I was real lonely. They got some cute kids.
I know.
So this is really bad timing. They're going to see a terrible side of St. Louis. I need people to just chill out for the next 16 or so years so they can raise their kids and everything's just going to be fine.
Oh, so it looks like you made a good decision for them.
Maybe I should have moved up there. I just got them Cardinals tickets against the Brewers, who are also from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I can't say it. And so I need everyone to also be cool during that game.
Sure,
it's like one of the 3 games. I'm going to tell you which one. So don't bring any guns into the stadium or shoot off fireworks or bring your dogs and make them eat all the ice cream or something. Just make sure everything goes real smooth because I don't want them to be mad at me.
Well, they're probably going to be the only ones there. Does anybody even go to the Cardinal games anymore?
Oh, my goodness. Unless they're giving away something free. They do free beer Fridays right now. The first beer is free on Fridays.
You're kidding me. Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty desperate.
And when you're drunk, you can't even say it.
No, I mean, I remember a friend of mine that we could never get anybody to go to his party. So he put out these flyers, free beer, and then everybody get their beer and go home. It wasn't because they cared about his party. And this is kind of what the Cardinals are. The Cardinals have turned into my loser friend from college.
25-cent shot night or something like that. That's
Shot night. Like
I don't
bullets?
call it that. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that would be something different. Wow. Well, good for you. So you brought them in from Milwaukee. You've got them at the Cardinal games. I mean, have they pretty much just become St. Louisans now?
Well, they're going to the Brewers game, basically. That's what they keep calling it. And they're going to root for the home team, which to them is the Brewers. So they could get beat up by the best fans in baseball.
They could.
I think I'm going to sit in their car the entire length of the game. They got the shot clock now, so I think the games are only half hour long. And I'll just sit in their car the whole time with the windows rolled up. Hopefully I don't suffocate myself and just make sure no one breaks into the car. And if they do, I'll probably just get out and leave because I really am a weak man.
No, you're not. You're strong in my opinion. And I have got a better idea for you. Are you ready for this?
What's this?
If John Hewlett, you pull my thing that I told you about.
Cardinals announcer John Hewlett.
Cardinals announcer. You pull my little wedding DJ trick with John. And you say, hey, John, it's me, Joey from News Talk. I think your car's on fire. And then maybe he'll run to check his car. And then you could put the stream of our show broadcasted on the Cardinals PA to your family and the other 2 people that are there.
I actually knew John Hewlett a little bit. I worked at the same station.
Name dropper.
And he's a bit of a germaphobe, which good. I mean, he's survived this long, so why not? I shook his hand once, and he immediately took a bottle of bleach and just poured it on thick. It even said not for human contact on the bleach.
Yeah.
And he just wiped it all in there just to get that scum that I left on his hand off, which I don't blame him. I'd do the same thing if I were me.
Yeah.
I am me. Yeah.
Well, sometimes, that's why it says in our bathroom here at the station, they
wash your hands for 20 seconds.
20 seconds. 20 seconds. What they ought to have is like a clock. Okay. Now, I got to tell you, I did tell you this, didn't I? I know from experience because Larry Connors was in there about 2 weeks ago, and Larry washes his hands for about 40 seconds. I finally thought he was going to take a nap, but 40 seconds, come on already. What are you, Larry? John Hewlett? That's what I said to him.
They should have something that locks up your hands. You put them in the sink. Chung chung, the metal shuts on your wrist,
right,
and it just holds them in there for 20 seconds, and you can't leave no matter what.
No, I do that with the garbage disposal at home. And now you say, hey, Todd, it's stupid to stick your hands in the garbage disposal.
It's stupid to stick your hands in the garbage disposal.
Oh, really, Joey? What are you, a racist?
Yes, yes, you caught me.
There you go. Well, I've had a good time today. You had a good time?
I had a great time. We always love having guests, but they're the worst part of the show. But these guests today, they were pretty good, so I'm not that mad.
I've said over and over, when we go national, okay, which could be any minute now, it's just going to be you and I, okay? And if there are guests, they're going to be our imaginary guests that live in our head, okay?
Yeah, I'll do a voice, you do a voice, and we'll see who gets confused first. I know your mom's going to be on the show a lot, probably.
Oh,
is she there now? Todd! Oh, we're both going to be doing the voice.
Hello, Todd. Will you come out?
Are you coming over?
I think I've fallen down the couch. Can you pick me up? There's it. It's right there.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you. I got you. Okay, there you go. Listen to the rest of the show. Okay, well, I guess that'll do it for us. What do you think? Mitch has been, he's boycotting the show. Our own band leader is boycotting the show over a contract dispute. Does he know that we don't even pay him?
He's in the corner doing that move where you rub your hands on your back to look like you're making out with someone else. But I can tell those are your hands, Mitch.
Hey, I bet he better wash those hands for 20 seconds.
20 seconds or else.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for me. I'm Todd Schowalter, along with my good buddy, Joey V. This is The Right Mind Show, and like I always say, if you don't have a right mind, you don't have a mind at all. Till next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to The Right Mind Show with Todd Schowalter. To find out about all things Todd, go to StudioTodd.com. We will see you next Saturday night at 5 p.m. right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL, and always streaming online at NewsTalkSTL.com.